I'd like to welcome everyone today to our COSA Shop Talk webinar. Today we have our Ancestry group, and we're going to talk a little bit about fold3.com. And so we're all excited to learn about that. Becky, go ahead and advance the slide one. Anyway, today what we're going to do is we're going to hear a presentation from, like I said, Todd Brewer with Fold.3. But before that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Craig Bullock, who is with Ancestry.com. Craig, go ahead.
Great, thank you, Lisa. As mentioned, I'm Craig Bullock. I'm with Ancestry, and it's so nice to be in this webinar with you all today. It's been a while since we've been able to see each other in person, and we're glad to have an event like this, which at least can bring us together in this forum. And we look forward to seeing you all perhaps next year, and we can see each other perhaps in person again. We're excited to introduce today's speaker to you. Ancestry owns a website, as mentioned by Lisa, that's called Fold3, and it contains an enormous number of military records within it. Many of you may have heard about Fold3 over the years. It's certainly well known for what they have in it, and we'd like to have you kind of bring you up to date with all the wonderful things that are currently happening within Fold3. So our speaker today, glad to have him join us, is named Todd. And I apologize on my part, but Todd Brewer has been with Fold3 for 15 years, and 11 of these, he's been a product manager. In addition to Fold3, he is also the product manager. He's been a product manager for Ancestry Academy. He has over 30 years development experience and continues to do some development on Fold3 ancillary systems. He and his wife have wonderful children. And with that introduction, I'd like to turn it over to Todd Brewer.
All righty, so I'm delving into uncharted territory. I plan on doing a live demo today, and I've never used WebEx before. So, hey, what could go wrong, huh? So let's go ahead and see if I can get my screen shared here. And there we go. Hopefully you can see fold3.com there. I've zoomed in a little bit.
Yes,
now,
we can.
Sorry, what was that?
Just letting you know we can see your screen.
Perfect, thank you. What I plan on doing is showing you a few features of Fold3, what we can do on the site, what we have on the site, and then we can talk a little bit more about how this might be beneficial for the states and their archives. Now, a lot of people question the name Fold3. Where did that come from? Well, actually, it's from the flag ceremony of the U.S. flag. Each fold of the flag ceremony has a different meaning. The third fold of the flag ceremony is in honor of veterans. Therefore, our site is a military records site to honor veterans. As you can see here on this page, we have over 590 million records on our site, and it grows every day. And we focus on military records. That includes records from the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. Now, there is a tricky side to military records. I would consider them definitely advanced records, because most people are so used to being able to go in and find information by throwing in a vital date or something and having information pour in. Military records are notorious for not having much vital information. Of course, they're military records, so death date might be in there, but rarely do you have other information. Sometimes they omit middle names and other things that can help you track things down. And so military records can be a bit tricky. And so Fold 3 is designed to help the user get past these things and find the amazing stories that can be found in military records. So you can see our countries at the top. We come in here and look at, let's look at the Revolutionary War. This opens up what we call a collection page. These are all the publications that we have some featured publications, or you can see a list of all the publications that we have specific to the Revolutionary War. You can then drill into these, for example, Military History of Ohio. You can drill into this and get more information about this particular title, where it came from, how many records we have, and you can browse the title directly here, or you can search the title. Going back to the collection page, you have the same ability. You can search within the collection itself, and it just makes it easy to compartmentalize things to a specific conflict or time period. We have three main record types on Fold 3. The first record type is our image. Our images are very high quality scans, as you can see here. A lot of our newer images are in full color. This is a widow's army pension. We started digitizing them with NARA many years ago, but due to various things, we were never able to finish them. But we also have combined military service records and other projects that we have been on and off with NARA in generating and digitizing. Here on the left, you can see an information pane about this. Gives information not only about this particular page in the record, but also information about the publication itself and any contributions. So if I were to come down here and say, well, I see a name here, Sarah, I'm going to zoom in here, and I can very quickly add an annotation just by doing that, and then I can type what I see. Oops, got to hit save. Ooh. Sorry. Yes, thank you. Select type. There we go. Name. Save. And it put it in the wrong place. What could go wrong in a live presentation? That's okay. I can go in and edit it and move it around. But it allows you to go ahead and select things, names, dates, places, things like that, which are immediately then indexed and allows people to do searches on it. So this is our image page. And it has all the other bells and whistles that you can do. Also, we have this nice little button up here called Save to Ancestry. On all of our record types, we can save this record to any Ancestry page, person page, that we have in our tree. The other record type we have, or another, would be the index record. These are ones that we do not have images for, but we have basic information on, like this information here for the Mexican-American War for Henry here. It allows me to add comments, and just like I did an annotation on the other one, I can add comments to this record. I can browse for more information from other records that are near this one in the roll, and I can see if there are any memorials attached. Now this one has a memorial attached, and I'll show you what a memorial looks like. A memorial, this is actually my father. He served in World War II. He was trained as a bombardier and spent most of his time as an armament specialist, although he did fly missions as a bombardier as a backup. He was in the South Pacific, and the memorial page is a great way to share information about ancestors and people that you have in your family who served in the military. What's nice is on any of these other records, images or index records, you can very easily come in here and say, add this record to a memorial. I click on that, it will show me the memorials that I have recently viewed. I can click on Courtney Brewer, and what it will do is it will ask me, well, we have this metadata information. Do you want to import it into your memorial? So I can just attach the record to my memorial, or I can actually import all of the data as well, which then shows up here in the fax information in the timeline. So it makes it for a very convenient place to store all the records pertaining to a particular individual. You can also manually add information in fax. Facts include birth and death information. You can see this whole section here is about World War II and specific information to that. This right here, ship or station, was actually a muster that he was on when he was moved from one location to another, even though he was in the Army Air Forces. You can add information of residences, spouse information, etc. Okay. Now, other things you can do is you can add stories. Now, this one only has one story from a friend of mine talking about him, but you can add images in these stories and make them very rich and informational. There's the gallery, where you can import the records and the images associated with the individual. And then finally, there's the Sources tab. The Sources tab is kind of the list of everything you've attached to this memorial. So you can zoom in, or sorry, shall I say, scan down and find information like, oh, well, here's his index record. Let's go look at it. Boom. And this will then show you his Social Security death index record. So these are the three types of records that we have on Ancestry. Now, Ancestry is not Ancestry, Fold 3. Got to get that right. Now, Fold 3 does have a premium subscription. So a user who is, we require users to have a subscription, not a subscription, to be registered with Fold 3 to be able to create memorials and edit memorials. But all of the memorials are free for all of our users. So you can go in and find a memorial, add information, and edit it just with a free account. We also have many titles in Fold 3 that are free titles. If I go into Browse, which is one of our tools that researchers can use, it shows all of our publications and titles. Now, we use the term publication where Ancestry will often use the word database, but they mean the same thing. And you can easily, if I were not a premium member here, you would actually see a free flag on any publication we have that is free. Okay. And so we have the premium subscription and the free subscription. And then, of course, there is a bundle subscription with Ancestry where users can get in that way. Now, I'm going to show you real quick how our search works and why Fold 3 works so well for military records. If you look here, let's say I'm interested in looking for Robert Shaw. I don't know if you know who Robert Shaw is, but he was well known. He was part of the film Glory. Matthew Broderick played Robert Shaw in Glory from 1989. So if you've seen that video, and it's the story from the Civil War. Now, I've just put in the keyword Robert Shaw, and I have over 100,000 results. So obviously, I want to pin this down a little bit more. So I'm going to remove the keyword, and I'm going to type in Robert Shaw. And I'm going to come down here and say, no, I want to search it as a name. Okay, we've dropped it to 19,000 results. Still not really good. Well, I know that he was in the Civil War and that he was Union. So I select Civil War, and it will then filter only Civil War records. And I'm now over 1,000 records. I can do better. I know that he had something to do with colored troops. So I'm going to do colored troops. And I'm just going to put it in as a keyword. Well, we've dropped it now down to 26 results. So you can see how easy it is to use Fold3 search to drill in and really find people if you know some information. I'm going to do one other thing. I'm going to come in here and say, well, I know that his name was actually Robert G. Shaw. And now I'm down to 4 results. So if we scroll down here, there is a memorial page for him. But I'm really interested in his, let's look at this combined military service record here for Robert Shaw. So it opens it up in the viewer here. And I can open up a film strip, and this is Robert G. Shaw, and this is his entire combined military service record. If I scroll through, you can see it keeps going and going, and it ends right here on page 30. So if I go to 30 here, well, I hope I didn't ruin Glory, the movie Glory, for you, because this kind of tells you how it ends right here. But this also shows you how powerful Fold3's search capabilities are. The other primary tool that we offer people who use Fold3 is the browse feature. This allows you to go in and say, I don't know, I'm not interested in a particular individual, I'm interested in a particular publication. I can either start typing, like widows' pensions, and there's widows' pensions, or I can go in and say, I'm just interested in things related to the Civil War. And I can scroll in, and when I find something that's interesting, I click on it, and then I can start drilling in for more information. Let's find this, and there he is, Civil War photos. So we have great photo collections. I'll show you one other thing, and then we'll the other thing we have in here deal with some memorials that we have digitized. Let me go to the U.S. Vietnam Wall. I'm going to do view. Many years ago, we took photos of the Vietnam Wall, and at the time we rolled it onto the internet, it was the single largest image on the internet. Unfortunately, that probably belongs to Britney Spears or something else right now, but back then it was the largest one. If I zoom in on the memorial, you can see it coming more and more into focus. And I actually did this at a Roots Tech demo once, and I got to be about right here, and a woman said, "Oh my goodness, that's my brother right there." And I don't know how I did it, but somehow I zoomed in on her brother's name. But you can zoom in here, drag it, and then if you find a name like, I don't know why it says Stephen Ellis. We're going to have to look at that. Lloyd Eugene. Somehow, like I said, what could happen doing a live demo, huh? Let me zoom in one more time. Paul. There we go. Let's look at Paul. If I click on information for Paul, it will tell me everything about him as pertaining to his death. He was Caucasian, Roman Catholic. He was killed on the 4th of November through non-hostile methods and was a ground casualty. And there is a memorial for Paul on our site. And so I could go in and add information to this memorial, or I could create my own memorial and put whatever information on there I wanted. So your question is, well, what kinds of records does Fold3 have? Well, I've already alluded to the fact that we have records specific to wars, to conflict periods, etc. I would say that our crown jewels are probably the Civil War and the Revolutionary War records that we have. We have both Union and Confederate records for Civil War. Most of our Confederate records have come from state archives. And then we have digitized a lot of the Union records from the National Archives. But we do have a pretty significant Confederate collection. As you can hear, we have the service indexes and other information for the Confederate side of things. Revolutionary War is another one that we are very strong on, including the Brady Civil War photos. We have a lot of Canadian. Well, Canadian goes across multiple conflicts, but we have widows' pensions. Oh, sorry, no wonder. I got to deselect Civil War. So you can see some of this, the Revolutionary War records that we have, including Pennsylvania archives, Indian treaties, and other things like that. The War of 1812 is interesting because we don't have a lot on that, but we are working with some partners and bringing out the pension files of the War of 1812, which is an ongoing project that we've been working on with, I believe it's FGS, maybe NGS. And also the LDS Church is working on digitizing some of those. So we've been working on the War of 1812 pension files as well. So what does this mean for archivists? What does this mean for you? Well, the nice thing is we have some advantages on Fold 3. First of all, if you have content that is military related, we would love to have it on Fold 3. We make sure that whatever content we have on Fold 3, that the person who, or not the individual, but the state in this case that provides it gets full access to all of the records. And we also have institutional access through ProQuest. So if you would like to have Fold 3 access in your locations, ProQuest offers that as well. And we would certainly be interested in working with people to digitize and do other things along these ways. I'm going to show you one last thing before I turn it over. It is our new War Stories project, and this kind of gives an example of where we're headed with Fold 3. If I go into War Stories, what we have done is we have decided that there was a lot of Civil War content in the world, but it was not very comprehensive. It was scattered. And so we have started this major project of focusing on the Civil War, and I'll show you what we've got here. I'm going to go to Explore Civil War Battles, and I'm going to specifically pull up Gettysburg because everybody knows Gettysburg. And I'm going to open it. This is the Gettysburg battle page. It has information with an overview of the battle. It has facts about Gettysburg. It has maps. It shows you the Union versus Confederate army size, who the commanders were, and then a number of battlefield maps, videos of Gettysburg, and link to one of our partners, which is the American Battlefield Trust, where you can go get more information about Gettysburg. So this is really, really kind of cool until you go to regiments. And now it gets really interesting because what we have done is we have said, okay, here are all the regiments that participated in the Battle of Gettysburg, both Union and Confederate. So I can drill in and say, I'm interested in this United States 5th Artillery. Now I'm on a regiment page. You can see this particular regiment was involved in all of these battles. And I can go in and see information about each of these battles that this regiment fought in. You can see information about the individual companies within that regiment and who the officers were. And for the major kicker, you can then go into soldiers and see individual soldiers that served in the regiment. So if you have an ancestor and you type in John T. Burns, we can come up and say, hey, did you know that he served in the United States 5th Artillery? And did you realize that he fought in these battles? And we can look at the, oftentimes, we can look at the service dates, the muster dates of a particular soldier, and can pretty much determine which battles they were actually a part of. And so this is a very exciting part of our site that we're working on. We've made great progress on Civil War. Our next step is to do World War II, which is going to be massive, but we're very excited to do that. We have a lot of interest in World War II right now. And so that will be our next big project, is adding war stories for World War II. So I think I've given everyone a pretty good overview here. Let's open it up for questions.
Okay, if you've got a question for Todd, you can either unmute and ask it, or you can type it in chat. Boy, Todd, there's a lot of really great information here. And it's nice to know that if someone is trying to find an ancestor through military records, this sure looks like a lot easier way than trying to scroll down through just lists and lists and lists. It gives you a chance to actually go in and look for the individual. So then I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you a question here.
Please.
Obviously, you've got a lot of records about early wars, etc. How are, and you said you're just getting started on like World War II. How are you doing as far as like the women who have served? Are you seeing many records yet on that?
Well, I'm amazing that you should ask. Let me show you a link here, because this just came up the other day. We are working with a group called Stories Behind the Stars, and their push is to create stories for every recipient of the Gold Star from World War II. They've completed the state of Utah. They have completed everyone who lost their lives in D-Day. They have just about finished everyone who lost their lives in Pearl Harbor, and they plan on working through all of the states and writing up stories for these people who really are the stars. And so they use Fold3 as the platform to write these stories and to add memorial pages. But this one individual from Stories Behind the Stars has created what we call a topic page. And this allows her to add whatever content she wants. And so as they are finding women who are Gold Star recipients from World War II, they are going through and adding them to this list. And so you can come in here. Here's a WASP pilot, for example. By clicking on that, you can see a memorial to her and a tribute and a story. So we are working to get more information on the WASP files as well. Also, our blog.fold3.com has a lot of entries for women who have been in combat.
Excellent. Thank you so much. You know, that's 2020 was, of course, in 2021, we've been celebrating the approval of the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. And so looking back at their service to our military, I think is also an interesting tie-in. So thank you for sharing that information is out there. Anybody
Yes,
else?
absolutely.
Anybody else have any questions for Todd about the site, or gosh, can you find this kind of record? I'm going to throw another one at you. Poor Todd, he didn't know any of these were coming.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
What about like people who served, and this is more recent, what about people who served like on submarines? Can we find people that way? Is that
okay? So I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. One of the things we are working on is the ability to do photo searches. That's probably going to be out just a little bit, but you should be able to type in B29 or something like that and find photos. But we do, the problem is it comes down to the privacy laws of the United States. And right now it's just barely coming to the 1950 census where we can release that information to the public. So we can't get information from most government bodies about any individual after 1950. We do, however, have another partnership with a group called Together We Served. If I come in here and do a search, or better yet, let me just take you to a different memorial. This is the honor wall. Anyone who has a memorial on our site is visible on this wall. You can see that I have all conflicts here, and I can mouse over people and get information from them. But if I go to a later war like the Vietnam War, it will bring up individuals who we have. Click on him here. Here's Reuben Thomas. Let me click on his profile, and then here's information about his service. Again, this came from Together We Served, and it has information on his rank, his specialty, conflict period. And again, these are Gold Star recipients. These are those who were killed in action. And so we do have information on those post World War II, but very little else. We have some Korean War records, but more should be available in the next few years.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, well, and that's the challenge, and I think that's the challenge as we help our patrons is understanding that, as you said, it's easier to have full records on Revolutionary and Civil War, but that our more recent conflicts, because of privacy laws, it's going to take people. It'll take a few more years before some of those records are going to be accessible. So that's a good way. So does anyone else have any questions for Todd?
I will say that we do have quite a World War II collection as well. There was a fire that destroyed a lot of the records for the Army and the U.S. Air Forces that unfortunately are pretty much irreplaceable. But we do have Navy collections. We have Holocaust collections that are very interesting to go through. We have information about the art and things that the Nazis stole and where they found them. We even have UFO records. So that is right up your alley there. We have the Project Blue Book records and all kinds of fun stuff.
Lisa, this is Barbara. I had a question for Todd. Can you hear me? Can I go ahead and ask?
Yes, please.
Okay. I was just sort of clicking through while you were answering the last question, Todd, and I was looking for like an ancestor in the Revolutionary War, and then saw that I found the person, and then it listed like the regiment, but the regiment wasn't clickable at that point. Is there a place to go back and look up who else was in that regiment?
Is this the Revolutionary War you're looking?
Yeah, I was looking at the Revolutionary War.
We have not added that information, or we haven't built that out for the Rev War yet. We've only done Civil War.
Okay, thank you. I just wondered if I was missing it.
But you could do searches for that regiment and possibly find more information manually.
Okay, like you just put in the search box 23rd Regiment, or which I can't really remember which one it was. Okay.
And the important thing about the search is when you put in 23rd or something like that, use the hints that are down below, because it will make your search far more defined. Also, these facets that are on the left-hand side, you can put in specific date ranges, places, what title collection you want. This can really help you narrow down your search.
Okay, I see that now. This looks really useful. I had not used this before, so I think I was finding a lot of people a minute ago.
We also have this little shortcut bar here that says filter. It does pretty much the same thing as the left pane, but it's a little more concise and allows you to find things really quickly. Oh, and as always, we have these little tutorials in the bottom right that will teach you how to use the search, how to use memorial pages, and other things. Any other questions?
Okay, if not, thank you for those questions. That was a great question, Barbara. I believe Jared has a couple of comments he wanted to share with us. So Jared, if you want to go ahead and unmute or turn on your video and share with us. And Todd, if you want to stop sharing your screen, well, you can leave it on because whatever Jared says may have something to do with the actual website. So Jared?
Yeah, thank you, Lisa, and thanks, Todd, for that insightful presentation. Just wanted to kind of close with a couple of comments relating to content. I know most of you are familiar with the way Ancestry works and the models that we have in engaging with you. And that model doesn't really change at all with content that resides with Fold3. So if there are content sets or things that you think your archive might have that might be relevant to that, then you can certainly engage with your acquisitionist at Ancestry, myself, Craig, O'Brien, and we can work with you to include it into contracts and agreements that we may have existing. And like Todd inferred, access to Fold3 at your institution can be done twofold. One is through an acquisition contract with Ancestry or Fold3. And like we do with Ancestry Institution, where we provide that at no cost, that's the same way with Fold3. And aside from that, if there's an interest, then ProQuest is our third-party vendor that distributes that product in the same way it does with the Ancestry platform. So yeah, I just want to make sure people are aware of that. And like Craig mentioned at the beginning of the call, you know, we are certainly we'll be ramping up our efforts to engage with the archives in a more personal manner. Obviously, as circumstances allow. If there are any additional questions or thoughts that you have, again, you can reach out to Todd if that information is relevant there, or you can reach out to one of your Ancestry representatives, and then we can direct those questions or comments that you might have specifically to Todd or Fold3 itself. Sometimes you'll find content that may reside partly on both platforms. Ancestry does have some content that's related to military, but we tend to leave more of the details and a lot more of the information to Fold3's platform. And so, as you can see, there's so much information there for researchers to dig through, and that's only going to increase as World War II starts to open up and allow access to that content. So we're looking forward to doing that, and again looking forward to engaging with many of you on military or many other collection types. So again, thank you again for your time, and hopefully we'll see everyone soon.
Thank you so much, Jared. We appreciate that. And Becky, if you can go ahead and give me slide control, I'll finish up with the rest of the slides here. There we go. So we've had great questions. Does anybody have any more questions, burning questions? If not, always you can reach out to Ancestry or Fold3 with those specific questions. But we really are delighted to have everyone with us today. And if you enjoyed today's webinar, we hope you will join us for future webinars. We've got a lot of really great ones. This is Electronic Records Day. Actually, it's Saturday, but we've got some really great Siri webinars here in the next few days. And then, of course, at the end of the month, we'll have our release with our newest in conversation. So we hope you guys will all look for those. And of course, watch for future shop talks. And always reach out to us. This is the way you can get hold of us on all our different things. And we look forward to hearing from you. And as always, there's a short survey at the end, and we hope you will take a few minutes to do that, because it does help us as we prepare other webinars. And so we appreciate all of your time and attention today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Jared. We appreciate your support of Ancestry. And thank you for this great information on a part that we may not have known how many records are actually there. So thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And we'll see you at our next ISCOSA webinar. Everyone, have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.